Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good luck sleeping. You're watching PNT. I'm your host, mostly Toasty. Up front this week, according to an article by CNN, a Corpus Christi ATM repairman had to resort to unusual tactics to draw attention to his plight after he became trapped in a small room behind an ATM. The anonymous repairman had been at a local Bank of America fixing a lock on the door of the small room that allows bankers to service the ATM when he inadvertently became locked inside. After discovering that he had left his cell phone in his vehicle, the unfortunate fellow had to resort to slipping handwritten notes containing pleas for help to users of the ATM through the receipt slot. According to Corpus Christi police, several customers discarded the notes, believing them to be a prank, before somebody called police just to be on the safe side. Arriving on the scene, Senior Police Officer Richard Olden told CNN reporters that they could hear a faint voice coming from inside the machine. Responding to the distraught repairman's cries, police had to kick down the door under repair in order to get him out. Olden was later quoted as saying, "You'll never see this again in your life, that somebody is stuck inside of an ATM machine. It was just crazy." Reports indicate that the repairman was unscathed, only suffering minor injuries to his pride. The ATM was apparently in good condition, but refused to comment on the matter. From ridiculous repairs to Mexican UFOs, our next story takes us south of the border to Progreso de Madero in central Mexico. According to multiple reports online and an article by the UK Mirror, residents of Progreso de Madero recently captured something on film that has some viewers mystified. The video, captured on local residents' cell phones, shows a huge black ring hovering in the sky overhead while puzzled residents attempt to figure out just what it is that they are seeing.
¿Es un platillo volador?
No, pa, no, eso es otra cosa.
¿Qué es eso?
¿Qué será?
Está como humeando, ¿no?
Ajá.
¿No serán las ventanas esas vertientes de agua?
No,
es
eso
una
no
rueda.
es.
Esta es una rueda negra.
¿Ya se está desapareciendo?
Ya.
Lo bueno que lo grabé.
Ajá, como que se va yendo. Sí. Sí, ya está viendo más delgadita la línea.
While some are convinced that it is a flying saucer or ovni, citing other recent tapings of strange smoke or cloud rings worldwide, others state that it is most likely an odd cloud formation or other weather-related phenomenon. Eyewitnesses can be heard on the footage speaking to each other, attempting to figure it out. Despite being filmed from several locations and numerous witness statements, officials have not yet released an explanation for the strange video. From flying saucers to foul freeways, our final story takes us to the A1 highway near Linz, Austria. According to sources online, a truck carrying over 7,500 chickens caused a great deal of foul traffic when the sleepy driver nodded off momentarily and collided with a bridge support, officials stated. The chickens, who were all on their way to become the primary ingredient of barbecues everywhere, immediately made good on the opportunity and made a break for freedom, escaping from the overturned truck and clogging the highway for miles. Officials and over 100 firefighters arrived on the scene to help chase down the pesky poultry prisoners, with most being returned safely to their cages. The anonymous driver was cited for his carelessness and released with minor injuries, and there was no other damage to property or other drivers. Several hundred of the chickens were not so lucky, however, being killed in the course of the crash. While there are reports that some of the potentially airborne appetizers did make it across the road to freedom, motorists have not reported any current cases of foul play. And now, PNT is pleased to bring you our weekly report. Back in February of this year, PNT released our first Top 3 video on UFOs, containing those cases we found to be the most credible and little known. Due to the overwhelming response, we are now pleased to bring you another Top 3 UFO cases you've probably never heard of. Number 1. The Airshuttle 5959 Masaba 3179 Incident. February 28, 1996, 12:50 a.m. The airspace over Detroit, Michigan. Airshuttle Flight 5959 is en route to Cleveland when the pilot of the commercial airliner spies something very odd in the night sky. Radioing the Cleveland Flight Control Tower, they report a very bright, rotating, pulsing light underneath their plane. The light seems to be following them. Asking the tower if there are any other aircraft in the area, the pilot of Flight 5959 is surprised when the tower answers in the negative. Air traffic control radar showed no other aircraft in the vicinity of Flight 5959. Puzzled, Tower Control asks the pilot if it was possibly a cloud reflection of a land-based beacon light that he was reporting. Checking this theory, Flight 5959 turns and descends several thousand feet, only to see the object rise above the aircraft. At the same time, Masaba Flight 3179 is traveling from Detroit to Pellston, Michigan, monitoring the transmissions. The pilot of 3179 radios Tower Control, reporting that it can also see the object, brightly lit with rotating, pulsing lights. Masaba 3179 attempts to signal the UFO by flashing their landing lights, but receives no response. PNT has obtained the actual recording of the incident, and over the next several minutes, the startling audio reveals the confusion of both the pilots and the air traffic controllers.
Hey, Cleveland, Airshuttle 5959. We see traffic out there 12 to 1 o'clock, lower altitude. Do you have one on the radar?
Airshuttle 5959, that's a negative, sir. I don't have anything out in front of you at 12 to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
He's down well below you, or can you get an estimate on an altitude on him?
Well, it's real difficult. We're in between layers here. I'm just going to estimate him 2,000 feet below us maybe, and sort of pulsating light about, 10 miles out. Hard to tell.
Okay, Airshuttle 5959, I'll keep my eyes open, but I don't see anything.
Is that northwest of Detroit? Did you see that light? Yeah. Well, that's where I saw it, a real bright white light, sometimes flickering underneath the clouds is where I saw it.
Airshuttle 5959, is that traffic that you saw earlier, do you see him out there any longer?
That is Shuttle 5959, that's affirmative, and it's a light that it goes dim and it gets bright. I don't know if we'll get closer to it or what, but it looks like a rotating light around it, like a frisbee type thing that's going around it.
Masaba 3179, do you see the same thing?
Sir, I saw it coming out of Detroit. I wondered, all I saw was just a couple real bright flashes of light, and it almost looked like lightning, and it caught my eye, and then I kept watching it, and then it looked a little bit less bright, but it looked like it was underneath the cloud deck to me, and this is just as we were coming out of Detroit.
Okay, and can you get an altitude on it at all?
The light that I saw was just like maybe, 25 miles northwest of Detroit. Is that what you're referring to, or are you talking about the light that's at our 12 o'clock now, about 10 miles?
Any kind of target out near 12 o'clock?
Oh, we got some kind of white light out there at 12 o'clock, and the captain says it's pulsating. It looks like oncoming traffic, but it's just sitting about the same place that it's been here for about 10 or 15 minutes. We've been watching it. Yeah, the Airshuttle 5959, it looks like it's almost over Saginaw from our position.
Okay, Airshuttle 5959, contact Saginaw Approach Control 126.45. I appreciate the information.
3179, that target looks like it's below us. I would guesstimate maybe 10,000 feet.
Around 10,000 feet. Would you think it might be like a reflection, maybe perhaps off a beacon that for some reason it's just one of those weird things, natural phenomena that you're getting a reflection? Because I got nothing out there.
I don't know. I mean, we can see a clear, relatively solid cloud deck below us, and this is definitely a distinct whitish, it's looking a little red and greenish light sort of pulsating, and it is constant. It's not a beacon. And Cleveland, Airshuttle 5959.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hey, just to keep you advised, we're descending to 4,000 feet right now, and as we descended through 10,000 feet, that object is above us right now. It is not on the ground. It's about 10,000 feet.
Okay, sir, we're checking on it right now. I still don't have anything out in front of you at all that I'm showing it. I appreciate you coming back to the frequency and let me know.
All right, I'll keep it right. I'll tell you what, that is weird. It's just sitting there pulsating.
Masaba 3179, where is it relative to you right now?
12 o'clock, sir.
I'm trying to do a little investigating as to what this might be, and if you would keep me advised on this.
Okay, sir, I'm going to blink my lights at him and see if I can get any reaction on him. And 3179, was the other guy that saw that light, was he headed southeast bound, or was he headed the same direction we're going?
Well, he was inbound to Saginaw, and actually, when I sent him over to Saginaw, I expected that would be the last I heard from him. He came back up on the frequency and advised me that his clearance was down to 4,000 now, and that he said what he saw was still up above him and was like a red, he said it was a red and green light that was pulsing and like rotating. And he said he'd keep me advised and give us a report once he got into Saginaw. You don't have a camera on board, do you?
We could probably get one from a passenger. You want us to ask?
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to have a couple pictures. I think it might make our case a little better.
Okay. 3179, we got a passenger taking a picture of it right now. And, we got a flight attendant who says that they might have saw the same thing the other night.
Masaba 3179, I copy that. Masaba 3179, when you flashed your lights, did you get any response?
Didn't appear to, sir.
Okay. Okay, Masaba 3179, I'm going to send you over to Minneapolis now, sir. Is it still out here 12 o'clock?
Negative, sir. It's at about our 2 o'clock now. We made a turn.
Okay, so it's off your right side about 2 o'clock. I'd sure be interested to see those pictures. Can I get you an address that you might be able to send a copy if you guys get the copy of them?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Curiously, photographs taken of the object by both the pilot and passengers of Masaba Flight 3179 vanish soon after the incident, never to be seen in public. Number 2. The Carson Sink Sighting. July 24th, 1952, 3:40 p.m. Airspace over Carson Sink, Nevada. Lieutenant Colonel John L. McGinn and Lieutenant Colonel John R. Barton are flying a twin-engine B-25 bomber from Hamilton Air Force Base in California to Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The two men are distinguished command pilots with several thousand hours of flying time and are assigned to the Pentagon on highly classified assignments that include secret foreign and domestic aircraft designs. It is with understandable confusion that they are unable to identify the three objects that appear at approximately 11,000 feet altitude just ahead and to the right of the B-25. Assuming at first that the three strange craft might be new F-86 fighter jets, the puzzled pilots turn the B-25 toward the trio. As the bomber closes in on the craft, the two men can see that these are clearly not F-86 jets or any other type of aircraft familiar to them. The craft were very bright in color and had a distinct delta-shaped contour. There was no evidence of tails or of a pilot's canopy, but the craft did have a raised ridge at the midline that ran from the nose to where the tail should be. The three craft flew in a perfect V formation, suddenly banking to the left into the path of the B-25 bomber, passing a mere 400 yards from the cockpit containing the two amazed pilots. Moving at speeds estimated to be 3 times that of the F-86, McGinn and Barton watch the objects rapidly disappear from view. As soon as the two lieutenant colonels hit the tarmac in Colorado Springs, they immediately phone Air Defense Command Headquarters. Learning that there are no military or civilian craft in the area at the time specified, the formerly skeptical pilots were forced to face the magnitude and reality of their mid-air encounter. Despite intensive investigation by the Air Defense Command and later Project Blue Book, who classified it as a close encounter of the first kind, the incident has remained unexplained to this day. Some researchers have pointed out the similarities between the Carson Sink craft and those reported by Kenneth Arnold in 1947, proposing that what they were actually seeing was a Nazi experimental plane known as the Horten 229. As can be seen by these photos, there is an unmistakable similarity between the 229, the Carson Sink, and the Kenneth Arnold reports. But this still begs the question: if these were not extraterrestrial craft, who was flying advanced jet fighter aircraft over U.S. airspace throughout the late 1940s and early 1950s? Were these sightings of a secret U.S. program in development, or holdovers of the Nazi regime operating from a secret base somewhere in the depths of the Antarctic? We may never know for certain. Number 3. The Binbrook Incident. September 8th, 1970, 10 p.m. Airspace over the North Sea, United Kingdom. 28-year-old American exchange pilot Captain William Schaffner is scrambled from RAF Bainbridge to intercept an unknown craft over UK airspace. Schaffner, an experienced pilot who had served in Vietnam, was part of the NATO Quick Response Squadron of Lightning interceptors that were on constant standby throughout the Cold War. Constantly on the lookout for intrusions from the USSR, the NATO forces would immediately intercept any unknown or unidentified targets, and if necessary, shoot them down. While accounts vary, on the night of September 8, 1970, Schaffner was scrambled in order to intercept an unknown target over the North Sea. According to the more sensational reports, the object had appeared several times over the course of the evening, with RAF officials scrambling several different types of planes in a vain attempt to intercept the UFO, which was described as being conically shaped and extremely bright. When the interceptors drew near, the object would accelerate away rapidly, only to return again after the RAF planes had left. Frustrated with this game of cat and mouse at 10,000 feet, the RAF officials ordered Schaffner to scramble his Lightning interceptor, which was faster by far than the other aircraft that had been used that evening. According to what is reported to be an official transcript of the radio conversation between Schaffner and the radar station at Stakston Wold, the object was most definitely not a Russian bomber. I have visual contact. Repeat, visual contact. Over. Can you identify aircraft type? Negative, nothing recognizable, no clear outlines. There is a bluish light. Hell, that's bright. Very bright. Are your instruments functioning, 94? Check compass. Over. Affirmative. CGI, I'm alongside of it now, maybe 600 feet off my... It's a conical shape. Jesus, that's bright. It hurts my eyes to look at it for more than a few seconds. Foxtrot 94, say again, how close are you now? About 400 feet. He's still in my 3 o'clock position. Hey, wait, there's something else. It's like a large soccer ball. It's like it's made of glass. Say again, is it part of the object or independent? Over. Negative. Nothing. Can you assess rate? Contact in descent. Gentle. Am going with it. 50. No, about 70. It's leveled out again. Is the ball object still with it? Say again, Foxtrot 94. Over. Affirmative. It's not actually connected. Maybe magnetic attraction to the conical shape. There's a haze of yellow light. It's within that haze. Wait a moment. It's turning. It's coming straight for me. I'm taking evasive action. I can hardly... Come in, 94. Are you receiving? Over. Come in. Come in, Foxtrot 94. Over. As Stakston Control loses contact with Schaffner, the radio operator watches in amazement as the 2 blips on the screen one for the plane and one for the UFO, slowly merge, becoming one before vanishing utterly. 2 weeks later, after an intensive search of the area, the missing Lightning jet is discovered intact on the bottom of the sea, with the canopy closed and the ejection seat still in place, with no trace of Captain Schaffner to be found. The jet is raised from the seabed and sent for analysis to RAF Bainbridge. By the time the Ministry of Defense crash investigation team was able to look at the plane, many of the crucial cockpit instruments, including the compass, voltmeter, and directional indicators, had been mysteriously removed from the wreck. Although the investigation team protested this clear breach of protocol and was promised the return of the instruments, they were never returned for examination. The wreck of Foxtrot 94 was allegedly scrapped immediately afterwards, although some have suggested that the plane was anonymously transferred into the custody of American officials for further study. For over 30 years, the Bainbridge Incident was buried by the UK government until in 2005, what few remaining details had not been destroyed were released as part of the UK Ministry of Defence's UFO document dump. Not surprisingly, the tale told by the official documents is starkly at odds with the now well-known account. UK officials stated that Schaffner was not pursuing a UFO, but was taking part in a training exercise designed to test the pilot's ability to intercept and track aircraft at low altitude, a task that Schaffner apparently had little experience with. The pilots participating in the exercise were not told what objects they would be intercepting, and the mission parameters had changed from a simple intercept to the more intensive track and follow at low altitude, all without the pilot's knowledge. The official reports also claim that Schaffner failed to properly complete his pre-flight checklist, skipping many safety-related steps in his eagerness to get aloft. Other members of the patrol that took part in the flight that evening have stated that it was nothing more than an unfortunate case of pilot error coupled with inexperience. If this is so, why keep the details of Schaffner's unfortunate demise secret, even from his own family, for over 30 years? Why remove the very instruments from the cockpit of the plane that might give hard data on the cause of the crash and disappearance of Captain Schaffner? Why the haste to remove all physical evidence of the encounter from even the military's own investigators? If this was nothing more than a training flight gone awry, even at the height of the Cold War, why keep such a supposedly mundane matter under such tight wraps? The one thing that seems certain is that the Bainbridge Incident and Captain William Schaffner's disappearance raises more questions than it answers. So what was it that the experienced military officers, commercial pilots, and passengers in these three cases saw? Were these simply misidentifications of normal aircraft, secret military projects of a foreign power? Or were they something beyond our world and beyond our understanding? PNT invites you, our faithful viewers, to investigate further and draw your own conclusions. We thank you for watching and ask that you click like, share, and subscribe below. I'm your host, reminding you to keep an open mind, because a closed one shuts out the truth.